So we're gonna do this. Uh, TikTok was banned. Yeah, House passed the bill, and if it gets through the Senate, then it'll get signed. Biden's already said that. Why is this important? Why is it bad? Why is it good? Well, pretty simple, actually. You see, TikTok is owned by a company called ByteDance, and ByteDance is owned partially by the Chinese military. Now, the important thing to understand here is that ByteDance could have the best of intentions. They could be all for American values. They could all be about democracy, and they could totally support people sharing things of Tiananmen Square and everything else. But ByteDance isn't allowed to support those things because they're owned in part by China and its Chinese military. You see, in China, every single company, no matter how big or small it is, has part of its legal ownership by the Chinese government. Okay. It's not like in America where companies are created by individual states and then, of course, have those individual states as the authority that has to be followed for, anything regarding it. It's all about China and the CCP and everything else. And so the issue there is that even if ByteDance had the best of intentions, they can't legally deny the Chinese government or the Chinese military access to all the records and everything available from just even casual use of TikTok. And so the House has passed this bill because they're like, hey, the Chinese military is using this as a tool to get access to the kids and Gen Z and everything else in order to, collect facial recognition data and preference data and, push specific agendas that are politically best for China, but may not be good for America or the UK or whatever. And so the end result here is that TikTok was being used as a military weapon. And I know that sounds weird because you think, wow, it's just a website, right? No, it's not. Every act, every line of code that you consume is a political act. And so every line of code, every app that you use, you need to think about the politics behind that and what you're supporting. In this case, because ByteDance is a Chinese company, you're supporting China whether you like it or not. And unfortunately, China doesn't really like American values or freedom. In fact, the fact that many of my viewers who they're male, but some of them are female, and so if you're a woman, you have to ask yourself, well, what about my rights as a woman? And so, if you're thinking that and you're asking yourself that question, you should understand that China has very strict values when it comes to things like that, and you're not going to have the same freedom that you would have in America in China. And as a man, if you're a guy reading this, you're going to be more worried about your social credit score in China than you are what's on your feed that day. And so there's a lot of stuff going on here that is out of context for a lot of people, but it really does impact you. And so, as part of that, one of the things you have to understand is that banning TikTok isn't just banning the platform. It's not banning your use of the platform. It's not going to take it away from you. It's not going to delete it from your phone. That's not what this is about. This is about saying, look, as long as ByteDance is owned by the Chinese military, it's unsafe. So let's force a sale to an American entity that isn't going to have those national security considerations so that the website and the app can get better and become more trustworthy and actually be used more by people. I don't think anybody wants to get rid of the stitches and music and everything else that's available on it, but we definitely want to make sure that you're safe and that your face isn't being used in Chinese Viagra ads or whatever it is that they found. So keep that in mind.